and welcome to Clay to Canopy, the show where I attempt to make just about everything from the ground up. In this video, I am going to make a vision board. So come on, let's do this. I was working on this vision board and realized that it is not something that is going to be only one video's worth. So I am going to break this vision board down into different components, and this one is going to start with just the house. I'm going to show you how I go about creating my miniature houses. In the past I have used some pre-made house designs, but since this is my vision board and I want this to be my dream home, I am doing this one completely from scratch, all out of my head. The first thing I did was I made the cardboard model. I just traced out a 6" by 6" square because that is the footprint on the board that I'm going to allow myself for the size of this model for scaling purposes. Alright, this is going to be my floor plan. But once I start with this floor plan, I can start building up walls, cutting those out of cardboard and assembling with some hot glue. I need to dig out the hot glue gun. I'll really end up bringing out that thing again. Oh, yeah. I really thought about buying a new one today. I was there several times today because I kept forgetting stuff. I kept looking at the hot glue guns and I couldn't do it. Just drawing in this reference tick mark before I start cutting this up and assembling. It's going to be much easier to get my reference line on here while it's flat than to do it once it's assembled on the piece. And this line is my marker to divide the first floor and the second floor. Before I can get started applying the wood siding, I do need to map out where my doors are going to go. This is going to be the front of the house where you walk up and you have this very Victorian-esque inspired front. The back would be facing the forest, facing nature, would have all these open windows, more of a modernized cabin feel. I'm going to keep the features of the Victorian, but my color scheme is going to be a slick black and natural wood. I'm going to go in and mark out where all of my windows and my doors are going to go, and then I can get to adding on some of the details. I'm inside, excuse my messy inside space. As I was drawing in my windows, this area here really bothered me in the roof. I came up with this plan where I have elongated this section. I decided to put in a balcony type of area, and it really reminded me of Practical Magic where they climb onto this balcony on their roof to fly off of the rooftop. Since I've done it to this one side, I am going to repeat that to the other side. I have cut up my pieces. I'm going to be dismantling this section so that I can recreate that section with the new pieces that I have cut out. I'm thinking about possibly missed my calling and maybe should have become an architect. My obsession with houses and architecture. Some other lifetime maybe. I did learn ages ago how to do technical drawings, but I got some mixed emotions when it comes to architectural drawing. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So I decided to throw in a couple of bay windows on the sides. Have I complained yet about this hot glue gun today? I really should just go buy a new one. For the round windows, this is 1/4 of an inch, which translates to 2 feet. I have marked out a 1/2 inch in height, so I will have a 2 foot by 5 foot window. I'm going to take off the paper, indicate where that window is going to go. The next thing I have to do is put in all of my trim. I've already marked out where I want the doors to go. Some of the larger windows up top are going to be round windows. I'm going to be using some pieces of wood. This is like model making wood, craft sticks. The roof and all of the trim is going to gonna be painted black to save myself time. If I put on all the trim now, put on the roof tiles, spray paint the entire thing, then I can come in and put on the natural color and not have to do a repaint. To do the trim, I love this little thing. This is a chopper and it looks like a miter, so a box. It has a regular razor blade and you pop the piece onto it that you want and clamp down on this and it chops it. It's great for model making. I found this at the architecture store in downtown LA, close to Little Tokyo area. And this is another straightforward process. I'm going to be just using super glue. You could use hot glue gun. I'm just gonna roll with my super glue as I do. I do need to deal with the curves around the cylinders, around my silos or my towers, my turrets, if this was a Victorian. But I will need to put in the trim around this curved part. I have the bottle that I used to trace the circles. I'm going to be using this bottle as a mold, and the other thing I have is some veneer, thin sheets of wood. It does not have any backing. You can get this at a specialty hardware store like Woodcraft or Rockler Woodworking. You can also order it online. I usually get mine from upstate New York where I did my undergrad. I've been using the same place for years, called Certainly Wood. I am going to cut strips of this veneer because I am going to do a bend. I'm going to do bent lamination around this bottle and use that bottle as my form, but I need to first make up the strips, and I like to use my quilter's edge. This is not the good one. I don't know where the good one is. Looking for it earlier. I cleaned and put it away and now can't find it. So, there you go. You can use a pair of scissors to do this. When you're holding up the sheet and cutting with the scissors, it can crack really easily, and I find that doing it with this, it's less likely to break because I'm holding the piece down. I'm going to use my yellow wood glue for this. I'm going to throw on some blue tape onto where this is going to get glued up so I can make sure that I can get it off. Titebond 2, regular yellow glue. I'm just going to use my finger. It's a yellow version of Elmer's glue. As far as cleanup goes, it's going to be the same deal, but it's designed specifically to work with wood. I'm going to flip them on top of each other and stack, and you probably want to get your surface clean as you can. I should have a damp rag, which I'm going to go get. Titebond 2 has a 15-minute of open work time. Basically, you've got 15 minutes to get your thing glued up and under clamps if you're clamping. In this case, we're going to be using the tape, but you got 15 minutes to get it into position before the glue seizes. I am washing off the surface of this. Any of the glue residue will leave a weird discoloring shininess to it when you go and paint. My blue tape is going to become my clamp. And then I'm going to tape it to the bottle. Even though it is 15-minute work time, I will still need to let this dry for at least an hour, 2 would be best, before I can pop this off and then glue it to my form. While parts are drying, I want to start prepping the roof. I have a bunch of little bits that I have cut up. I have this heart-shaped hole punch, and I just use my heart-shaped hole punch with this veneer. I take my heart and cut it in half. And then this gives me this teardrop shaped piece of wood. Now this is going to be perfect for the top of my peak. This is going to give me my roof texture, just for the turret tops. Aside from using hole punches, I also use different types of craft scissors. Now these are just your standard pinking shear because I want a zigzagged edge. As I said earlier, this can become very brittle. What I do is I take my blue tape and I apply the blue tape to the back side of where I'm going to cut. You just want to make sure you burnish it on really well. You can take the back side of your scissors. The tape is going to stay on to the back of this. I want to give myself a measurement line to follow on my cut. We'll do 3/8. I'm going to go ahead and put in that second line, 3/8. I'm going to need a back cut. It'll make sense in a minute, I promise you. I'm going to take my pinking shears and I am going to cut along that first line. Now that second line is where I use my scissors. Now I have this zigzagged edge and I can lay that in here, stack the next one, and create this textured roof thing happening all the way up. On this house, I'm gonna go ahead and apply that to all of my slants. Yesterday I hit the house with some black spray paint. I have these craft sticks that are about the size of a coffee stirrer stick. This is going to become my wood siding, and as usual this is going to be quite the long process. And if you can't tell, the gardeners are here again. Have no idea whose gardener that is. I feel like every time this camera goes on, suddenly there's a gardener cranking up a leaf blower. Y'all, my main house is almost done. I am so close. I was not intending on adding glass to this, but since I already made a glass conservatory, there's no reason why I can't just pop in some glass. I don't think that I need to put little bits of glass in these voids here. The only area that it really bugs me is the area where I have the black casing around the window. Can't differentiate between the void of where there's going to be a window versus what's just casing. I'm going to cut some glass and glue it on in here. For the glass, I am not going into detail in this video. I did make a glass conservatory and that will air a little bit later. If you want to check out how to cut glass, stick around for that video. And that reminds me, if you are enjoying my content and muttering, please hit that subscribe button if you have not subscribed already. It really does help me out and I appreciate it. On to the glass. In the past, I have made doors using my Cricut. I'm just going to do this old school style. I have a piece of this, I think it's balsa, so I should be able to carve into it very easily. So holding my X-Acto at a slight angle, I'm basically taking out a beveled wedge. Gonna give me this raised panel look. So I'm gonna get on with doing that for all of the doors and get those glued in. Alright y'all, I'm pretty happy with the way that the house turned out. I'm going to leave the main house where it is right now and conclude this video. Last night I did go to an event at the Arboretum, which is basically my church. It was Christmas Eve. They have a Queen Anne style house on the ground. On the top of the house they have a bell tower that looks like a gazebo. In the back of my head I was thinking about it when I was constructing this. Having seen that reaffirmed it for me that I really think that it needs to have this gazebo sitting at the top. I am not going to go that crazy and deck out this model that way. It's just something to think about. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you have not done so already, and stick around to watch this vision board all come together.